You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better. Put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of, What If Deku Enters That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of SilverHades on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. It all begun in KK City in China. News of a bioluminescent baby being born spread like wildfire, shocking the nation. And then it started. Following that, exceptional individuals begun popping up all over the world. The cause was unclear. Time passed. And the exceptional became the norm. Fantasy became reality. At present, approximately 80% of the world's population consists of superhumans with special abilities, now commonly referred to as quirks. The world was in chaos. And in response, a profession that everyone once only dreamed about entered the spotlight. Rimuru. Hey, Rimuru. Wake up, you lazy bum. It's morning and it's the day. You know, the day. That day. The day we've been looking forwards to for ages. Rimuru grumbled as she slowly opened her eyes in response to the energetic voice close by. Suddenly, she felt a great blast of light move into the room as Rimuru moved her arm up to protect her eyes. Look, it's so sunny as well. It's so perfect I could cry. Exclaimed the voice. Rimuru squinted as she saw the figure sitting on the end of her bed energetically. Light skin. Bright blue eyes. Long, pink hair in twin tails. Melim, what are you doing in my room? In fact, what are you doing in my house? Rimuru managed to remark as she lowered her hand. Melim smiled cheerfully. I came by early and your parents let me in. They said something like, being so energetic for the big day was great or something, and that I'd be a great influence. I didn't really know what they meant but whatever. Melim responded. Rimuru sighed as she rested her face in her hands. I really need to talk to them about that, never mind. She remarked. Melim titled her head in confusion, a happy smile on her face. Rimuru climbed out of bed as Melim stood up and ran over towards Rimuru, grabbing and hugging her suddenly. Hey, can you turn into your true form? You've only had a human form for a small while, but I already miss hugging your cute blob form. Please. Wow. Did she completely forget her priorities? Today is incredibly important. Melim can change her focus really fast. Don't be silly. I've got to get dressed, have a shower and get ready. You're already apparently ready, so just wait around or something. Rimuru responded. Melim let go of Rimuru. Oh, okay. She responded, turning and sitting down on one of the chairs in the room. Rimuru sighed as she looked into a nearby mirror, seeing her own face. Rimuru's light skin, her golden eyes, her bright blue hair and eyebrows. That's right. Today is an incredibly important day. Because today is the day Melim and I take the practical portion of the general entrance exam for UA High School. February 26th. Whoa, Melim remarked as she looked up at the UA building in front of them. They were both standing at the entrance, dressed and ready, with their backpacks as well. Rimuru smiled as she looked up towards UA as well. UA High School was an academy most famous for training prestigious heroes. By extension, it was also very hard to get into. Apparently only one of 300 applicants are accepted. This day was the turning point, about whether they could pass the entrance exam and be accepted into UA, or fail it and be rejected. Though to be honest, Rimuru wasn't particularly worried. "There's so many people here, do you think we'll see anyone we know?" Melim asked energetically as she turned towards Rimuru. "Melim Nava. A friend I've had since childhood, and someone who's been very attached to me since then. We've known each other since before we even acquired our quirks at the age of 4. We're both currently 15 in age, and our friendship has remained solid for over a decade. Melim even opts to call me her best friend. And her quirk? Well, it's not too complicated, but I'd rather not get into it right now. All I can say is that she is far stronger than I will ever be. Every time we've fought, I've lost. Badly. Melim is a walking catastrophe, and yet she is also one of the most airhead, simplistic and energetic people I've ever met. She doesn't have any ironclad philosophies or ideologies she clings to. The reason she wants to become a hero is because she wanted to go to the same high school as me and follow the same career path as mine. Apparently. Yeah, she clings to me a lot and will annihilate anyone who hurts me. She's like a pet guard dog, I guess, but she's a very loose cannon. Even I can't control her. Though, it's definitely fun to have her around. Maybe. We'll have to see. Most of our friends chose other career paths since a lot of them didn't really have hero-suitable quirks. Rimuru responded. Melim put her hands to her hips and leaned forwards as she looked towards Rimuru. Rimuru, everyone we knew paled in comparison to your quirk. It's kinda rude to say things like that. Melim responded, as Rimuru nervously chuckled. Sorry, that's not what I meant. She responded as Melim straightened her body. My quirk. While it's true that many other quirks paled in comparison to mine, that doesn't mean it's a good quirk. Good is simply a viewpoint. Because when I turned 4, and my quirk awakened for the first time, my entire life changed in a way which shocked even people who had experienced knowledge about quirks. Rimuru narrowed her eyes as she looked down towards her hands. My body is not made of flesh. It was, a long time ago. When I was born, I was just like everyone else. But when my quirk awakened, my entire body changed from flesh and blood to that of a unique substance. It was only then that Rimuru Tempest was only truly born. My entire body had become a light blue, almost slime-like substance. I had no human form. But I could still think like any other person. And I still had vision. In fact, I gained complete 360-degree vision, and I no longer needed to eat, drink, sleep or even breathe. I couldn't feel pain anymore either, and my body could regenerate. My new body was very useful. But it came with its own problems as well. Because I had no human form and was instead a blue blob, people saw me in a different way. They pretended not to, but it was obvious. Sure, there are plenty of people with other mutant-type quirks which lead to unnatural body features such as additional limbs. But my quirk was to a completely different scale. For example, when a teacher would enter my class for the first time, the first thing they would always exclaim would be, "Why is there a blue pile of goo on one of the tables?" And then they'd realize that I was a student, and they'd apologize, but they'd still be uncomfortable. I can tell due to the subtle expressions and body movements they take which they attempted but failed miserably to hide. Other students often had the same reaction, with many even no longer seeing me as human and as some kind of lower life form, and become jealous that I possessed greater power than they did. Melim was one of the very few who were willing to be my friends, adapting fast to my new state, and our friendship continued as if I had never even changed at all. She is a true friend. Luckily this problem will not present itself in UA High School, because not that long ago I finally acquired a human form. While there are still characteristics from my goo form, such as my light blue hair and eyebrows, nobody can notice that unless they are aware of my true form in the first place. As to how I acquired a human form, well, that has connections to the true ability of my quirk which I have yet to explain. And I think I'd prefer to refrain from exploring that memory for now. It's rather traumatic to say the least. Rimuru's line of thought was cut off as suddenly, she heard yelling nearby. Huh. Melim remarked as she looked in the direction of the yelling alongside Rimuru. They could see two people nearby. One of them had light skin, incredibly spiky ash blonde hair, and sharp red eyes. He was glaring at another student in front of him. The student he was staring at was rather plain looking, with light skin, rounded dark green eyes and messy dark green hair. He seemed rather timid and weak, with his arms up in a confused, defensive posture as he turned and faced the other student. "Get out of my way or you're dead," the ash blonde-haired student said. "Morning, let's both do our best," the plain-looking timid student attempted to respond, as the aggressive student simply walked past him. I think I've seen that kinda aggressive-looking guy before," Melim remarked as she squinted her eyes. "You have? Well, he does kind of look familiar. Where could I have seen him before?" Rimuru thought. "Hey, isn't that Bakugo from the sludge incident?" One student remarked as they looked towards the boy with the ash blonde hair. "Sure is," another student responded. "Ah." Both Rimuru and Melim instantly recognized the ash blonde-haired boy named Bakugo. "That's right. Some time ago there was an incident where a boy got attacked by some kind of sludge-like villain. It was reported about on the TV. Quite embarrassing to say the least. He had to be rescued by the #1 hero, All Might. All Might, he's always intrigued me. He's potentially the most powerful person in the world, and yet he is the symbol of peace, the embodiment of justice. You'd think that with that kind of power, it would get to his head. But it hasn't. I guess there are people out there who just don't get arrogant no matter what. Well, Melim would be a very good example. Wonder who the other guy is, though he looks kinda weak," Melim remarked as she looked towards the boy with the dark greenish hair who Bakugo had just been yelling at. He seemed to be shaking and rather afraid, from what they could tell. "Wonder if he'll make it," Rimuru remarked. And then the boy with the dark greenish hair attempted to take a step forwards but completely missed, tripping over. "Nope, he won't." Both Rimuru and Melim thought. The boy's fall was stopped by a nearby girl, who suddenly levitated him and prevented him from hitting the ground. "Interesting quirk," Rimuru remarked. Whatever, let's head inside. I'm tired of waiting, I wanna have fun already," Melim remarked. Rimuru chuckled in response. "Always an impatient child. Welcome to today's live performance. Everybody say, hey." The teacher put his hand to his ear as he expected a response, but only heard an awkward silence. They were all now in a large hall, with hundreds of students sitting down and listening. Rimuru and Melim were sitting next to each other, watching and listening. "Well, that's cool, my examinee listeners. I'm here to present the guidelines of your practical. Are you ready?" "Yeah," the teacher exclaimed, conveniently ignoring the fact that nobody had responded to him earlier. "That's the voice hero, Present Mike, right? I've heard of his radio show, but I didn't really expect to see him as a teacher here," Rimuru thought. Melim was sitting there silently, listening intently with a cheerful smile on her face. Rimuru thought she could hear continuous mumbling nearby from one of the other students, but ignored it. "This is how the test will go, my listeners. You'll be experiencing 10-minute-long mock cityscape maneuvers. Bring along whatever you want. After this presentation, you'll each head to your assigned testing location." Present Mike exclaimed. The screen behind him lit up and showed a diagram with a large box tagged, "Current Location," with various lines connecting it to smaller boxes tagged A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. "Okay." There was only more silence. "Each site is filled with 3 kinds of faux villains. Points are awarded for defeating each according to their respective difficulty levels. Use your quirks to disable these faux villains, and earn points. That's your goal, listeners," Present Mike explained. "Of course, playing the anti-hero and attacking other examinees is prohibited. May I ask a question?" Suddenly called out a voice from the crowd of students. Rimuru glanced over towards the source of the voice, and saw a student with light skin, short black hair and smart-looking glasses. He pointed towards one of the handout sheets, holding it up. There appear to be no fewer than 4 varieties of the faux villains, according to this handout. Such a blatant error, if it is one, is highly unbecoming for UA, Japan's top academy. We're all here today in the hopes of being molded into model heroes. The student exclaimed. He then turned around and pointed towards another student. And you, with the curly hair. You've been muttering this whole time, it's distracting. If this is some sort of game to you, then please leave immediately. The student added. Rimuru glanced over to who he was pointing at, and saw that it was the same dark green-haired boy from earlier. Sorry, the boy responded. Geez, how unlucky can that guy get? Rimuru thought. Alright. Examinee 7111, nice catch. Thanks. Present Mike responded as the student turned towards him. But the 4th faux villain variety gives you 0 points. He's more of an obstacle. There's only one at each site, a gimmick that'll rampage around in close quarters. He explained. Got it, so it's like a stage gimmick to be avoided. One student remarked. Thank you, sir. I apologize for the interruption. The student with the glasses exclaimed, before sitting back down. Well, that's all from me. Present Mike exclaimed. I'll leave my listeners with our school motto. The great hero Napoleon Bonaparte once said, true heroism consists in being superior to the ills of life. Plus ultra. Break a leg, everyone. Rimuru stared in awe at the site in front of her. She had gone to the test site she had been assigned to, and had found herself standing outside what seemed to be a miniature city. Buildings, streets, so on and so forth. The dozens of other students who had come to this test site were also in awe. It's like a whole city must be rather expensive to make and then repair, Rimuru remarked. She looked down towards her hands. Meline had been assigned to a different test site, so they were separated. And this was the first time Rimuru was going to fight in her human form. Would she be alright? I'll be fine. Rimuru thought. Excited? I know I am. Said a nearby voice. Rimuru turned, and saw a girl standing next to her. The girl's skin was tinted pink, with her eyes possessing black sclera and yellow irises. She had short, messy pink hair with yellow horns protruding from her head. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Rimuru responded. I'm Mina Ashido. What's your name? The pink-skinned girl asked as. She held her hand out cheerfully. Rimuru shook Mina's hand. I'm Rimuru, Rimuru Tempest. She answered as she let go of Mina's hand. Ooh, I love your hair. It's so colorful and cute. Is it natural? Mina asked. Rimuru nervously chuckled as she scratched the back of her head. Yeah, it is, your hair's quite interesting as well. Rimuru responded. Mina motioned towards her hair. This? Yeah, I like to think so. It's pink like my skin as well, I think it matches. Mina responded cheerfully. She lowered her hand as she looked towards Rimuru. So what quirk do you have? A strength-enhancing one? Elemental? Mina asked. Rimuru glanced down at her hands. It's kind of complicated, Rimuru responded. Okay, well, I'm sure I'll see it during the test, after all. My quirk's acid, I can shoot corrosive liquid from my body. Mina exclaimed, a cheerful smile on her face. Reminds me of Meline, just a bit. Rimuru thought. And begin. Rimuru's eyes widened, as did everyone else's. She remarked. Present Mick's voice had just been heard all throughout the area. What's wrong? The test started. Run. Run. The die is cast. Present Mick's voice exclaimed once again. And everyone including Rimuru and Mina turned, sprinting right into the test site immediately. Jesus, that was abrupt. I can't lose time, time is precious here, Rimuru thought as she ran. The students started to split up all throughout the city, and Rimuru noticed that Mina was already gone. Well, it's not like staying together would increase our chances of succeeding, since this was a point-based test. Rimuru thought. As Rimuru split from the other scattering students and ran down one empty street, she heard a rumble as suddenly, a villain bot smashed through a nearby building and out onto the street in front of her. The villain bot was a one-pointer, with a long, snake-like neck, 2 arms with Gatling guns and a large single wheel used for moving. Target locked. Prepare for extermination. The one-pointer exclaimed as its single eye glared towards Rimuru. One-pointers with quick, but fragile. It raised its right arm, moving forwards fast as it swung its right arm down towards Rimuru. Before the attack could connect, Rimuru took a deep breath in and clenched her left hand. Body armor. Suddenly, silver metal scale-like armor formed around Rimuru's left arm up to her elbow, as she raised her left arm and blocked the swing. Stepping forwards, she moved her left arm forwards and drove her armored fist into the one-pointer's chest, smashing it completely and launching it into the ground. Several other villain bots swarmed into the area, as Rimuru turned and attacked them. My quirk. Those abilities I mentioned earlier were not the powers of my quirk. My 360-degree vision, my regeneration, lack of pain or to eat, drink or sleep, it's all the natural attributes of my new body. Not my true ability. My true quirk is known as devouring goo. I expand my body into its true, slime-like form and absorb the target into my body, gaining the ability to either store or devour them. Storing them doesn't harm the target, instead capturing them within my body. Very useful if I wish to trap an opponent. But if I devour the target, I permanently gain the ability to mimic their appearance and abilities. Including their quirk, if they are human. I am a quirk stealer. Probably one of the rarest powers in history. I've taken powers from animals before, such as a spider's web and silk, or a bat's LTRSND waves, though they are significantly weaker than quirks. But I have only devoured a human and taken their quirk once. Body armor is that quirk. And the person. Let's just say it's a memory I'd rather keep buried. However, I have limits. If my target is conscious, they can resist my absorption and potentially prevent it from succeeding if they are strong enough. My devouring cannot work on non-organic machines, and my storage has a limit. Still, it's all very useful. Storage can actually be used offensively, did you know? I'm able to forcefully expel anything from storage if I wish to. Let's say, if I stored a large amount of water, and expelled it in a specific form. Water blade. Rimuru jumped all around the area, swinging her arm as she released a blade of water from the storage of her body. The blade of water fired through the air like a bullet, slicing into 3 villain bots and slicing them all in half instantly. 32 points. Rimuru thought. Water blade is not a quirk. It is a technique. By expelling water forcefully from the storage of my body within the form of a blade, I can fire it like a projectile and slice through even solid rock or steel. Or, alternatively, hydraulic propulsion. Rimuru expelled a massive continuous blast of water from her back, propelling herself through the air as she drove her armored left fist into the core of a 2-pointer before firing a water blade through a 1-pointer. 35 points. She thought. Rimuru continued fighting, slicing and blasting her way through the villain bots, moving from one area to another as she even assisted other students occasionally. Such a wide battlefield and limited time brings out the best in them. The overseers watched the events of the practical entrance exam through their monitors. Intelligence gatherers, there are those who can assess the situation in an instant. Mobility experts, those who'll never be late to the party. Decision makers, those who can cope in any given situation. And then there are the natural-born warriors. The abilities needed to preserve peace in our cities are judged by the points they earn. This year's quite the bumper CRP, huh? One of them said. Nah. No way to know yet. Another responded. But this should tell us more, they began, moving and pressing a button. It begins now. Rimuru's eyes widened as she heard a massive rumble nearby. The other students in the area stopped as well as they looked up towards its source. A massive villain bot, around the size of a large building, smashed its two hands onto two nearby buildings. It was several times larger than the other villain bots, to the point that the other bots could only be considered fodder compared to this one. Whoa, that one is massive. It must be the gimmick that rampages around in close quarters, the zero-pointer we're supposed to avoid. I couldn't even hope to defeat it as I am now. None of my abilities could probably even harm it. It'd be a walk in the park for Malim, but I think I'll have to stay out of that one's way. Rimuru quickly rolled into a nearby building, avoiding the zero-pointer's massive hand as it smashed down onto the ground. The other students turned and ran, and Rimuru could see Mina among them. Guess even acid can't take care of that thing, huh? Rimuru thought. Using her 360-degree vision, Rimuru quickly dodged to the side as the zero-pointer's hand came smashing into the building she was in. As the building started to crumble around her, Rimuru propelled herself with water once again out into the air as she landed on top of a nearby roof, a far distance from the zero-pointer. Rimuru sighed as she turned to watch the zero-pointer smash around randomly towards the surrounding students. Quite a show. I wish I'd brought popcorn. Rimuru thought. Suddenly, just as she was thinking, Present Mic's voice boomed through the surrounding area. It's all over. And the villain bots, including the zero-pointer, stopped. The test was complete. 1 week later, the results were out. The screen lit up with a recording of Katsuki Bakugo in the middle of fighting the villain bots from the exam, blasting them apart with tremendous explosions. An arrogant smile was on his face. In first place, with 0 rescue points. The 1 and 2-pointer villains were just itching to capture him. In the second half, when the other examinees were slowing down, this guy just kept going at it. He's one tough cookie. The screen changed to an image of izukumidoriya within the exam, a frightened expression on his face. And on the other side of the spectrum, in 9th place, with 0 villain points. Yes, others have stood against the gimmick in the past, but it's been a while since we've seen someone actually take it down. But he was considerably damaged by his own attack, one teacher remarked. Like a child getting a first glimpse of his power. A strange one, for sure. He looks like a typical failure in every other way. Who cares about the details? I like him. Kid just makes me go, yeah. This year's shaping up to be a special one. Second place destroyed the gimmick as well. 2 students at that level of power, within the same year. This is going to be very interesting. One black-haired teacher sighed as he listened to the others talk. Geez, what a racket. He thought. Rimuru's eyes widened as she looked down at the opened UA high school letter she had just received in the mail. It showed the score for the practical exam she had done just a week prior. 42 villain points, just as she had counted. And 24 rescue points. Present Mike didn't mention those. Was that on purpose? She had totaled 66 points, and was the top 6th student within the practical exam. She had passed. Rimuru smiled. And Malim probably did as well, considering her rank. Perfect. Spring. Whoa, so these are the halls of Udata. Malim expressed her awe as she walked alongside Rimuru through the halls of UA's main building. They were both wearing their UA uniforms, and had come slightly early at Malim's request, so they would most likely be some of the first students in their class to arrive. Class 1A. One of the 2 classes alongside Class 1B within the Department of Heroes, where students learn everything they need to know to become excellent heroes in service of the community and work towards the qualifications necessary to be allowed to use their quirks in public spaces. This was exactly the type of class they were aiming for. Oh, we're here already. Malim remarked as they stopped in front of a large door, 1 and were visible on the door, indicating that this was their class. I wonder if anyone else is already here, Rimuru remarked as she slowly opened the door and peeked inside. Inside the class, Rimuru could see several people, about 5. So they weren't the first ones here. And then, she recognized one of them. It was the same girl Rimuru had met prior to the entrance exam, Mina Ashido. She was sitting at the front of the class and was talking to another student seated to her right. The student she was talking to was a short girl with a frog-like appearance. She had light skin, long, dark sea-green hair tied in a bow on her back, alongside very wide eyes with pure black irises and distinctive lower eyelashes. Melim glanced through the open door as well. "Oh, there's people already here," she remarked. Hearing Melim's voice, Mina turned her head towards the door. "Oh, there's who I was talking about," she remarked towards the frog-like girl as she waved over towards Rimuru and Melim. "Hey, over here," Mina called out towards Rimuru. She walked over towards Mina as Melim followed. "Nice to see that you passed the entrance exam. And we're in the same class, no less," Mina exclaimed. "Yeah, what a coincidence," Rimuru remarked. Melim glanced towards Mina, before glancing back towards Rimuru. "Who's she, Rimuru?" Melim asked. "Just someone I met back in the entrance exam," Rimuru responded. Melim smiled as she turned towards Mina. "Nice to meet you then. I'm Rimuru's friend, Melim Nava," Melim said. "I'm Mina Ashido," Mina responded. The frog-like girl waved her hand in greeting, as Rimuru sat down next to Mina and Melim sat down next to Rimuru, next to the window. "I'm Tsuyu Azui. Nice to meet you," she said. Melim smiled as she nodded her head in response. Mina turned towards Rimuru. "So, Tempest, I saw you fight a bit back in the entrance exam. You've got a cool quirk, you made some kind of armor on your body, right?" Mina asked. Rimuru turned towards her. "Armor? She must have seen me use body armor. I'll just go along with it for now, explaining the true nature of my quirk will only overcomplicate things," Rimuru thought. "Yeah, my quirk is called body armor. I can create silver scale-like metal armor across any point in my body. It's good for deflecting smaller attacks, but it'll break apart if hit by bigger barrages though. The armor also increases my physical strength a bit as well," Rimuru explained. She wasn't lying, Rimuru did have the body armor quirk. She was just avoiding the truth about devouring goo. "Oh. That's so cool," Mina exclaimed. Rimuru saw that Melim was too busy looking out through the window in awe to take part in the conversation, but that didn't really bother her. Rimuru also noticed that Azui had put her finger up to her mouth, perhaps out of curiosity. "What about your quirk, Azui?" Rimuru asked, as Azui turned towards her. "Me? My quirk is frog. I can do anything a frog can. I can jump really high, stick to walls, my tongue can stretch to a maximum of 20 meters. I can also spit up my stomach to clean it, and secrete a poisonous fluid which doesn't do much but stings a little. So the last two aren't that useful," Azui explained. "Oh, I see," Rimuru remarked. More students seem to be coming into the classroom now. "What about Nava?" Azui asked as she looked over towards Melim, who was still busy staring out the window. "Oh, never mind. She seems busy already," Azui remarked. She turned back towards Rimuru. "Are you two friends?" Rimuru nodded. "Melim and I have been close friends since childhood, since before we even got our quirks. She's quite attached to me as well. We took the entrance exam together though we got put in different test sites," she explained. "Yes, I saw the scores from the practical. She was second place, right? With a bit over 60 villain points. You must be very proud of your friend," Azui remarked. "Well, I know she can handle herself in a fight. Much more than I ever can," Rimuru responded. Don't say that, Tempest. You were 6th place, far higher than me. You have plenty of potential as well. Azui responded. Rimuru smiled. Thanks. She responded. Suddenly, they heard a commotion nearby. Rimuru, Azui, and Mina turned as Malim was still too busy staring out the window. 2 students were seemingly arguing. Rimuru narrowed her eyes as she recognized both of them, the ash-blonde-haired student from before, Bakugo. He had his foot up on his desk. The other student, with black hair and glasses, was seemingly arguing with him. Remove your foot from that desk. Such an action is insulting to those who came to UA before us as well as the craftsman who made that desk. The student with glasses exclaimed. Like I care. What middle school are you from, you extra? Bakugo responded with an arrogant smile on his face. I'm from semi-private academy. My name is Tenya Ida. The student with glasses responded. Bakugo laughed. Semi? A stuck-up elitist, then? I should blow you to bits. Bakugo exclaimed. Ida widened his eyes. Blow me to bits? You're awful. Do you really wish to become a hero? He responded. Before Bakugo could respond, Ida noticed someone open the door to the classroom and peek in. Rimuru recognized the newcomer as the dark green-haired boy they had seen Bakugo yell at before the exam. He made it into UA. That's a surprise, he doesn't look like much, Rimuru thought. Ida walked over towards the dark green-haired boy. I'm from Semi Academy, he begun, only to be cut off. I heard you before. I'm izukumidoriya. Pleased to meet you, Ida, the dark green-haired boy responded. Rimuru's eyes widened. Izukumidoriya? He's the student who got 9th place. It was based on rescue points, I think. What's this guy capable of? She thought. Midoriya, you perceived the true nature of the exam, while I did not. I misjudged you. I hate to admit it, but you were the superior candidate. Ida said. What? Is he talking about the rescue points thing? I'm pretty sure nobody knew about that. Unless this Midoriya is some kind of genius, I doubt he was better than you. You were ranked higher than him, anyway. Rimuru thought. Bakugo glared towards Midoriya. Rimuru noticed that was almost hatred expressed on his face. Deku, he growled. Deku? Is that some kind of nickname? Do they know each other? Well, that might explain what happened before the entrance exam. Rimuru thought. Yua, Azui muttered as she put her finger to her mouth in thought. Rimuru turned towards her. He's not going to be getting any favors with that kind of behavior. To think he wants to be a hero makes you think what his image of a hero even is. Azui remarked. Yeah, Rimuru responded as she glanced back towards Bakugo. Ah! That curly hair! A female voice exclaimed out as they peeked into the classroom from the door. It was a girl with light skin, brown eyes, and shoulder-length brown hair which sported 2 long locks beside her face and a short bob at the back. Isn't that the girl who stopped Midoriya's fall back before the entrance exam with some kind of levitation quirk? Rimuru thought. Midoriya quickly turned around to face her. The plain-looking boy! She exclaimed. That is probably the most accurate description of Midoriya I've ever heard. You got in, just like Present Mike said. Makes sense, though. That punch was awesome. She exclaimed, as Midoriya recoiled with an embarrassed expression on his face. No. I mean, I have to thank you for speaking on my behalf. Midoriya responded. The girl tilted her head in a confused way. Huh? How do you know about that? She remarked. Midoriya responded. So we've got our entrance ceremony and guidance lessons today, yeah? Wonder what our teacher will be like. Boy, I'm nervous. The girl said as she looked towards Midoriya. If you're here to socialize, then get out. Their one-sided conversation was cut off by a male voice out in the hallway. The girl turned around, and saw what appeared to be a man, within a large yellow sleeping bag. What the Rimuru thought. This is the hero course. The man said, standing up within his sleeping bag before walking past Midoriya, Ida, and the girl and up to the front of the classroom. The entire room was silent. He got out of the sleeping bag, stepping out in front of the entire class. He was a ragged-looking man with light skin, black eyes, and messy shoulder-length black hair. He had a worn-out appearance, as if he had just gotten out of bed. He was wearing a ragged black outfit that consisted of a long-sleeved shirt and matching pants that tuck into his boots. He also wore a utility belt and a large white scarf. It took 8 seconds for you to quiet down. Time is a precious resource. You lot aren't very rational, are you? The man said. Is this guy our teacher? Rimuru wondered. Meline had changed her focus from the window to the man himself, even she was wondering who he was. So he's a pro hero too? Midoriya muttered. I'm your homeroom teacher, Shota Aizawa. Pleased to meet you. The man said. So he is our teacher. Rimuru thought. Aizawa reached into his sleeping bag, before pulling out what seemed to be a male gym outfit. He held it out in front of Midoriya's face. Quickly now. Change into your gym clothes and head out to the grounds. Aizawa said. A test of our quirks. All of the Class 1A students were in their gym clothes and were standing out in the practice field, with Aizawa standing in front of them. The levitation girl, as Rimuru had nicknamed her, exclaimed in surprise. What about the entrance ceremony? Or guidance sessions? She exclaimed. No time to waste on that stuff if you wish to become heroes. Aizawa responded bluntly. He glared over his shoulder towards the students. UA is known for its freestyle educational system. That applies to us teachers as well. He said. Softball throwing. The standing long jump. The 50-meter dash. Endurance running. Grip strength. Side-to-side stepping. Upper body training. Seated toe touch. You did all these in middle school, yes? Your standard no quirks allowed gym tests. The students nodded, with Meline nervously chuckling as she scratched the back of her head. This country still insists on prohibiting quirks when calculating the averages of those records. It's not rational. The Department of Education is just procrastinating. Aizawa explained. He glanced towards Bakugo. Bakugo. How far could you throw in middle school? He asked. 67 meters. Bakugo responded. Great. Now try it with your quirk. Do whatever you need to. Just don't leave the circle. Aizawa said as he threw a ball into Bakugo's hands. Bakugo walked into the center of the practice field, within the circle. Give it all you've got. Aizawa said. Awesome. Bakugo remarked as he prepared himself, stretching and then moving into position to throw. And then, he threw the ball, a massive explosion releasing from the palm of his hand as the ball was launched into the air at incredible speeds. Die! He exclaimed. Die! The entire class thought collectively as the wind from the explosion blew past them. The ball hit the ground, with Aizawa calculating the distance it had been thrown. The device he was holding beeped, and he looked down at it. It's important for us to know our limits. That's the first rational step to figuring out what kind of heroes you'll be. Aizawa said as he held the device out and showed them the distance. 705.2 meters. And the entire class erupted into excited discussion. Whoa! This is awesome. 705 meters. Seriously? So we can use our quirks for real. Man, the hero course is great. Aizawa sighed. Awesome you say. He muttered, before putting his face in his hands. You're hoping to become heroes after 3 years here and you think it'll be all fun and games. he remarked, before glaring up towards the students as they fell silent. Right. The one with the lowest score across all 8 events will be deemed hopeless and will be expelled. Aizawa's words were like a dagger to all the hearts of the Class 1A students. Expelled? On the first day? Rimuru thought, her eyes widening. Their teacher was no joke. He looked like a complete mess, but they could tell that he meant business. Wah! The students exclaimed. Aizawa adjusted his hair as he stood up, a sinister smile on his face. Your fates are in our hands. Welcome. This is the hero course at UA High. The lowest scorer will be expelled. It's only the first day. I mean, even if it weren't, that's still totally unfair. Levitation Girl exclaimed as she stepped forwards in front of the other students. Natural disasters, highway pileups, rampaging villains, calamity is always right around the corner. I'd say Japan is full of unfair things. Aizawa responded coldly. Heroes are the ones who correct that unfairness. I'm sorry to tell you, but for the next 3 years UA will run you through the ringer. That's plus ultra. Use your strength to overcome it all. So bring it. Aizawa said, putting his finger up and motioning it towards him, as if to say, come on, do it. Rimuru prepared herself, as Malim stretched and got herself ready. I can't fail this. Rimuru thought, as the other students prepared themselves as well. The demonstration is over. Aizawa said. Now it's for real. Event 1, 50-meter dash. Ida zoomed forwards, engines on his legs as he passed Azui quickly, who was hopping along like a frog, 3.04 seconds. The tracking robot stated as Ida finished the dash, 5.58 seconds. It said as Azui finished afterwards. Rib bit, she remarked. Aizawa narrowed his eyes as he looked towards Ida. Tenya Ida. Quirk, engine. He's quite fast, to say the least. Like a fish in water. We'll see how he does in the other events, Aizawa thought. He then glanced towards Azui. Tsuyu Azui. Quirk, frog. She's obviously not the speedy type. He thought. Levitation Girl prepared herself, touching her shoes. I'll just make my shoes lighter, my clothes too. She thought. 7.15 seconds. The tracking robot said as she finished the dash. She sighed as she caught her breath. Faster than in middle school, at least. She thought. Aizawa looked towards her. Ochiko Uraraka. Quirk, zero gravity. Anything she touches will be unaffected by gravity, but using her power too much will make her queasy. He thought. I shouldn't expect many physical feats from her. Mina Ashido prepared herself, as the student next to her stood there in a thinking pose. A large metal belt was around his waist. He chuckled as he looked away from the dash pathway. He so unimaginative, all of you. He remarked. Ready, the tracking robot said. He moved into a ready position, his hands above his head and his back facing towards the path. If we can use our quirks. Go. No better way than this. He jumped, firing an energy beam from his belt which propelled him forwards, past Mina, who was running quickly. However, the beam faltered, and he fell to the ground, getting back up as Mina passed him, firing the beam again but failed to finish the dash before she did, 5.51 seconds. The tracking robot said. If I'd fired an instant earlier my stomach would have exploded. He remarked. What's up with him? Mina thought as she looked towards him. Aizawa glanced towards the student. Yuga Aoyama. Quirk, naval laser. He can shoot a laser from his belly button but his recovery time is restrictive. Quite an odd one. Aizawa thought. They're pushing their quirks to their limits. By seeing how much they've improved I can guess what they're capable of. And what they're not. This is inevitably linked to how creatively they use their abilities. Bakugo and Midoriya started the dash. Bakugo raised his hands, smiling arrogantly. Explosive speed! He exclaimed, as Midoriya went, huh. Bakugo moved his hands back and released explosions from his palms, launching himself forwards and past Midoriya, finishing the dash before him. 4.13 seconds. The tracking robot said. Katsuki Bakugo. Quirk, explosion. Certainly a warrior, though a very arrogant and hot-headed one. I'd honestly prefer if he'd tone his noisy personality down a notch or 30. Aizawa thought. 7.02 seconds. The tracking robot said as Midoriya finished the dash. Aizawa was silent. What was your record back in middle school, Nava? Azui asked as she turned towards Malim. She nervously chuckled and scratched the back of her head in response. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to do these activities back then. My quirk is always active whether I like it or not, so it would interfere with their averages or something. I think it's silly. Malim responded. Oh, I see. Azui remarked as she put her finger up to her mouth in thought. Rimuru started the 50 meters dash, running at her top speed. She took a deep breath in, and prepared herself. Hydraulic propulsion. She exclaimed, before firing a blast of water behind her from her inner storage, launching herself forwards past the other student and finishing the dash. 5.32 seconds. The tracking robot said. Huh. Mina remarked as she watched. I thought her quirk was some kind of body armor. What did she just do? Mina thought. And then, it was Malim's turn. No hard feelings. She exclaimed cheerfully towards the other student who was doing the dash. She prepared herself, getting ready. Go. And she sprinted forwards with tremendous speed, bypassing the other student almost instantly. Within seconds, she had crossed and finished the dash. 3.91 seconds. The tracking robot said. Midoriya's eyes widened. That was faster than Kaken. Only Ida was faster than her. What kind of quirk does she have? He wondered. Well, that wasn't surprising. Rimuru thought. Event 2, Grip Strength. Body Armor. The scale-like armor formed around Rimuru's right arm up to the elbow, and she gripped the handheld device with all her physical power. It was a device that reads the force her grip exhibits in kilograms. She looked down at the reading. 126 kilograms. Well, that's quite strong, Rimuru remarked. 540 kilograms. Are you a gorilla? Or an octopus? Exclaimed someone as Rimuru turned. Two students were standing in front of a larger student in awe. The larger student had short gray hair, and his face was covered by a mask. He had 6 large arms, one of which was holding a grip strength device. Octopus. Cici, one of the other students, a rather short one, muttered. Then again. Hey Rimuru. I'm gonna do the grip strength thing, watch. Malim walked over to Rimuru, who turned. Malim was holding a grip strength device. Go ahead. Rimuru said as Malim looked down at the device. She smiled, before nodding. Alright, watch this. Malim exclaimed, gripping the device. And then it broke. Ah. Rimuru narrowed her eyes as she watched Malim walk forwards, holding the ball. They had completed the third and fourth events, standing long jump and sidestepping. Now it was time for the fifth event, throwing. Rimuru had just finished her throw, a total of 462.7 meters. Not bad. I think Bakugo got around 705 meters, with his explosions, so I did pretty well since I could only use my body armor to increase my strength. Rimuru thought. Now, let's see how well Malim will do. And Malim threw the ball, a boom being heard from the sheer force as the ball flew through the air. It landed onto the ground, and Aizawa calculated the distance. He then showed the calculated distance. 1,204.6 meters, Rimuru muttered as she saw what had been calculated. Whoa, several other students remarked. Melim exclaimed in joy as she ran up towards Rimuru. Hey, Rimuru, did you see that? I did great, didn't I? Melim exclaimed. Yeah, you sure did, Rimuru responded. 1,200 meters as I said before, walking catastrophe. Next up was Ochiko Uraraka, or Levitation Girl, as Rimuru had nicknamed her. She held the ball firmly as she stood within the circle. Applying her zero-gravity quirk, Uraraka threw the ball, and it went up and up through the air. And it didn't come down. Whoops. Uraraka remarked. Aizawa held out the calculation, and there was no number. Infinity. Wow. The infinity symbol actually popped up. Well, that's to be expected. She didn't use physical strength. There, she just used her anti-gravity quirk. That ball's going to be in the sky forever, unless that quirk has a time limit. Rimuru thought. As Uraraka walked away, Izukumidoriya was final one. Midoriya, he's been doing very badly in everything. How'd he even pass the entrance exam? Rimuru wondered as she watched him slowly walk to the center of the practice field, ball in hand. Midoriya isn't doing very well, Gita remarked. Well duh. He's a quirkless runt. Bakugo exclaimed, pointing towards Midoriya. Ida turned towards him. Quirkless. So you haven't heard about his feats during the entrance exam? Ida exclaimed. Huh. Bakugo responded. Rimuru glanced over towards them. Quirkless. What? And his feats, what could he have done? He doesn't seem physically capable, based off everything we've seen of him so far. Rimuru thought. Midoriya held the ball, preparing himself, and he threw it. And it fell to the ground. 46 meters. Midoriya looked down at his hands in shock. But I was trying to use it, he muttered. Aizawa stepped forwards. I erased your quirk. He said. That ridiculous entrance exam completely irrational when you consider that someone like you got let in. Midoriya's eyes widened as he saw Aizawa's scarf separate into a long, cloth-like weapon which was around his neck. A pair of yellow goggles were revealed underneath his scarf. Aizawa's eyes were glowing red. Erased? Those goggles, of course. Midoriya exclaimed. You're the erasure hero, Eraser Head. He nullifies quirks just by looking at them. The effect wears off when he blinks, though, Midoriya thought. The students started to talk among themselves. Eraser? I've never heard of him. One said. I think I've heard his name before. He's an emitter-type hero. Another said. Rimuru looked down at her hands. I wonder what would happen if he used his quirk on me. Would it affect body armor or not? It might be able to cancel devouring goo as well. I wonder if it could even affect Melim. Aizawa pointed a single finger towards Midoriya. I saw it, how you can't control your quirk. You'd just be incapacitated again. Were you hoping someone would step in to help afterwards? He asked. And no, it's not like that, Midoriya responded, attempting to step away. However, suddenly Aizawa's scarf reached forwards and wrapped around Midoriya's body, pulling him towards the erasure hero. Whatever you were planning, it would have inconvenienced those around you. Way back when, a certain hot-blooded hero saved over 1,000 people during a disaster. He made himself a legend. You've got the same reckless streak, but you're totally useless after saving a single person. Aizawa stated coldly. He's talking about All Might, the #1 hero, Rimuru thought. Izukumidoriya, you cannot become a hero with that power of yours. There was a moment of silence. And then, Aizawa sighed, blinking as he let go of Midoriya with the cloth-like capturing scarf. You've got your quirk back, give it another go. Let's get this over with. He said, handing Midoriya the ball as he walked back into the center of the practice field. Are you worried about him? I'm not worried at all. Aoyama said, putting his hand on Uraraka's shoulder. And who are you? She responded. Seems like he received some special instruction, Ida remarked. Yeah. The instruction to leave this school. Bakugo responded bluntly. Midoriya moved into throwing position, and got ready. You have, Aizawa begun. Raising his arm, he moved to throw, no chance. Aizawa said. However, Aizawa's eyes widened as he saw what Midoriya was doing. At the very last moment, Midoriya's finger lit up with a crackle of bright glowing energy. Now! Midoriya exclaimed, throwing the ball with a sudden release of tremendous power through his fingertip, the ball being launched into the sky. Rimuru's eyes widened, as did the rest of the students. The ball landed, and Aizawa looked down at the distance calculator. Midoriya's finger was seemingly bleeding. This pain, it's nothing like before. He muttered. Aizawa's eyes widened as he looked at the calculation. 705.3 meters. He didn't utilize his full power. He just concentrated it into his fingertip. Aizawa thought. Midoriya clenched his fist and held it up, looking towards Aizawa. Sensei, he begun. I can still move. He stated. Aizawa's eyes widened. This kid. Uraraka raised her arms up in celebration. Woo! Now that's a hero-like record if I've ever seen one. Yeah. She exclaimed. Ida looked closely. His finger appears to be swollen. Thinking back to the entrance exam, what a strange quirk, he remarked. Stylishly done. Aoyama said. His power certainly contrasts his appearance, Rimuru commented. And Bakugo's mouth was wide open in shock. Suddenly, he launched himself forwards with his explosions, directly towards Midoriya. What the hell? Explain yourself, DKU. He exclaimed, as Midoriya yelled out in surprise. However, just before he could get to Midoriya, Aizawa's cloth-like scarf wrapped around Bakugo and constricted his movement. The explosion stopped. What this cloth, it's stiff. Bakugo exclaimed. It's a capture weapon made of carbon fibers and a special alloy wire. Geez, stop using your quirk already. I'm getting dry-eye over here. Aizawa proclaimed coldly, glaring directly towards Bakugo with his eyes glowing red. Bakugo stopped resisting, as Aizawa let go of him with the capture weapon. What a waste of time. Prepare for the next event. He said. Is your finger okay? Uraraka asked, as Midoriya nodded. Ah yeah, he responded. That quirk, so he got the 60 rescue points back in the entrance exam using that? He must have done a serious rescue. Wonder what he did, Rimuru thought. She glanced over towards Malim, however she was too busy looking at nearby flying birds instead of paying attention to the situation. Rimuru chuckled. Classic Malim. The events were over. Time for the results. Moving along. Time for the results. Aizawa said. Rimuru noticed that Midoriya had an almost frightened expression on his face. Well, that makes sense. Besides the throwing event, he did terribly on everything else. If anyone's the one getting expelled, it's probably him, Rimuru thought. Your total scores simply reflect your performance in each of the events. Explaining the process would be a waste of time, so all you get are the final rankings. Aizawa said. He then held out a device which activated, projecting a holographic image of the rankings. Also, I was lying about expelling someone. That was a rational deception meant to bring out the best in all of you. Aizawa said, a massive sinister smile on his face. Wait. Midoriya, Uraraka, and Ida all exclaimed at the same time. Well, of course it was a lie, didn't take much to figure that out. One female student remarked. Anyway, we're done here. Your documents about the curriculum and such are back in the classroom. Give them a look. Aizawa said. He turned towards Midoriya. Midoriya. Have recovery girl fix you up. Tomorrow's trials aren't gonna be any easier. Aizawa said as he handed Midoriya a sheet of paper. He then walked off. So that's UA, huh? What a crazy first day. Rimuru thought. Oh, look Rimuru. I'm so high in the rankings. Milim exclaimed. Surprising nobody. Rimuru responded. She turned to glance at the holographic list of rankings for the 8 Quirk fitness tests. Momo Yaoyorozu, rank, 1st. Shototodoroki, rank, 2nd. Milim Nava, rank, 3rd. Katsuki Bakugo, rank, 4th. Tenya Ida, rank, 5th. Fumikage Tokoyami, rank, 6th. Mizo Shoji, rank, 7th. Rimuru Tempest, rank, 8th. Mashireo Ojiro, rank, 9th. Eijiro Kirishima, rank, 10th. Mina Ashido, rank, 11th. Achiko Uraraka, rank, 12th. Koji Koda, rank, 13th. Rikido Sato, rank, 14th. Tsuyu Azui, rank, 15th. Yuga Aoyama, rank, 16th. Hanta Siro, rank, 17th. Denki Kaminari, rank, 18th. Kyoka Jiro, rank, 19th. Toru Hagakure, rank, 20th. Minoru Mineta, rank, 21st. Izukumidoriya, rank, 22nd. The next day. Rimuru sighed as she sat at her seat, half bored. After Aizawa-sensei's abrupt quirk testing yesterday, I was expecting the following day to be just as eventful. But this is so boring. Present Mike stood at the front of the classroom, looking at a book as he spoke out towards the students. Who can find the mistake in the following English sentence? All right, everybody. Hands up, show some spirit. Present Mike exclaimed as he threw his arm up into the air. Nobody responded. You'd think that with such an energetic teacher, English would be an interesting subject. Well, at least we eat top-notch food at lunchtime, made by the cook hero, lunch rush. But the next class, well, that'll definitely be more interesting. I have. Suddenly, a massive figure pulled open the door to the classroom. He was a very large man with an equally muscular and well-defined physique, light skin, blue eyes, and short blonde hair with 2 distinct bangs that stood up over his head. He was wearing a red, white and yellow costume with a long red cape. Come through the door, like normal. Rimuru's eyes widened. That's him. All Might. The #1 hero. The symbol of peace. I had heard that was going to be a teacher here, but to be honest, I never thought I'd meet him, much less be taught by him. All Might strode with pride towards the front of the class, as the students expressed their awe. It's All Might. Incredible, he's really going to teach us. That's his Silver Age costume. Gives me goosebumps. Milim's face lit up as she stared towards All Might, who was now standing at the front of the class. Rimuru smirked as she glanced towards Milim. Milim's always wanted to meet All Might, not just because she's a fan, but because their quirks are somewhat similar, Rimuru thought. All Might posed as he faced the class. Hero Basic Training. The class that'll put you through all sorts of special training to mold you into heroes. No time to dally, today's activity is this. All Might exclaimed, before pulling out a small object with 2 words on it. Battle Training. Rimuru noticed Bakugo grin as Midoriya exclaimed in surprise. All Might smiled as he outstretched his arms. And for that you need these. In accordance with the Quirk Registry and the special request forms you filled out before being admitted, he said. Costumes. The entire class exclaimed energetically in anticipation and joy. After you change, come out in ranking order to ground beta. Looking good is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Look alive now, because from today onwards, you're all heroes. All Might exclaimed as the students walked out into ground beta. They were all in their hero costumes, the costumes they had specifically chosen and had made in order to become heroes. As Rimuru stepped out alongside the rest of the students, she slipped on a white mask with black markings and a red dot in the middle, covering her entire face. She was wearing a white and black fur coat over a white shirt, black pants and brown boots. Not a particularly flashy costume, I know. But my quirk isn't really something that can be enhanced by a costume, so simple is my best choice. Mina oo'd as she looked towards Rimuru. Her hero costume was a purple and turquoise camouflage skin-tight bodysuit and a tan vest with white fur on the collar. She also had a white mask over her eyes. We've both got fur on our costumes, Tempest. That's so cool. I like the mask, as well. Mina exclaimed. Rimuru touched the mask with her fingers before lowering her hand. Yeah, this mask is a memento, from an old friend. Rimuru responded. Mina tilted her head in curiosity, interested by what Rimuru was saying. Who's the friend dash? Hey Rimuru. Maleem's voice was heard as she ran over towards Rimuru. Her hero costume was a black and white collared shirt, black shorts, red scale-like boots with a pink and white legging on her right leg and a pink and white band on her left leg. A lot of her skin, specifically her belly, was exposed. Whoa, I like your costume. Where'd that fur come from? It must feel great. She exclaimed. Still not as skimpy as Yaoyorozu's costume. Rimuru thought as she glanced over towards one of their other classmates, Yaoyorozu. She then glanced back towards Maleem. Yeah, I felt that a costume like this would be easier for me. It's rather light as well, so it's easy to move in. Rimuru remarked. Maleem glanced towards Rimuru's face. Hey, is that Shizu's Moss Dash? Let's not go there, Maleem. In an instant, Rimuru's voice had become as sharp as thorns and as cold as Aizawa's. Maleem stopped speaking and clamped her mouth shut. Mina tilted her head in confusion. What just happened? Who's Shizu? Mina wondered. Suddenly, All Might yelled out. It's time for battle training. All Might glanced around the area, looking at the different students. We're all here then. Looking good. He exclaimed, before resting his eyes on Midoriya and his green hero costume. All Might then recoiled in an almost embarrassed fashion, before returning to normal. One of the students covered in a costume of silver armor stepped forwards. He put his hand up. Sensei. This appears to be the same field used in the entrance exam. Will we once again be performing cityscape maneuvers? He asked. That must be Ida, his voice is the same. Rimuru thought. Nope. All Might responded bluntly. You'll be moving on to step 2. Indoor anti-personnel battle training. He exclaimed. Villain battles are more commonly seen outdoors, but statistically the most heinous of villains are more likely to appear indoors. All Might put his hand up to his chin. Between confinement, house arrest and black market deals, in this hero-filled society of ours, ahem, the cleverest villains out there lurk indoors. You will now be split into villain and hero teams, and face off in 2-on-2 indoor battles. The distinction here is that you won't be fighting disposable robots. He explained. What determines victory? Can I just blast everyone away? Are you threatening to expel someone, like Aizawa-sensei did? How do we proceed to divide ourselves into teams? How fabulous is my cape? All Might clenched his fist and looked up towards the sky. One at a time please. My quirk isn't super hearing. He exclaimed. He then opened up a small piece of paper and looked at it. Listen up. The villains will be hiding a nuclear weapon within their hideout. And the heroes have to go and take care of it. The heroes have a limited amount of time to capture the weapons or secure the weapon. On the opposite side, the villains have that same time frame to either capture the heroes, or protect the weapon until the time is up. All Might then pulled out a small box with a circular hole in the top. And your teams shall be decided, via drawing lots. He exclaimed. Is that really the best way? Ida exclaimed. Makes sense, because pros often have to team up with heroes from other agencies on the spot during emergencies, Midoriya explained. Team A, izukumidoriya and Ochiko Uraraka. Team B, Shototodoroki and Mizo Shoji. Team C, Momo Yaoyorozu and Minoru Mineta. Team D, Katsuki Bakugo and Tenya Ida. Team E, Rimuru Tempest and Fumikichi Tokoyami. Team F, Yuga Aoyama and Mina Ashido. Team G, Malim Nava and Kyoka Jiro. Team H, Denki Kaminari and Tsuyu Azui. Team I, Mashireo Ojiro and Toru Hagakure. Team J, Ejiro Kirishima and Hanta Siro. Team K, Rikido Sato and Koji Koda. After our teams had been chosen, several battles had passed. Team A had fought against Team D, and surprisingly, Midoriya had won against Bakugo by destroying half the building with his quirk and taking advantage of the trial's rules. Also, he hurt himself badly in the process. Immediately following that, Team B had crushed Team I, with Todoroki freezing the entire building to both capture the villains and secure the weapon. Now, it was their turn. All Might plunged his hands into the two boxes labeled hero and villain. Moving on, next up is, he begun, before pulling out two balls from the two boxes. The first ball was labeled E, and the second ball was labeled G. Team E are the heroes, and Team G are the villains. Rimuru's eyes widened. I'm going to face Malim. Fumikichi Tokoyami put his hand up to his chin in thought. He was Rimuru's partner, the other member of the hero Team G. He had a black bird-shaped head, red eyes, and otherwise light skin. His hero costume was a dark black robe with a purple tint that covered his entire torso and knee-high black boots. Team G, one of them is your friend, is she not? Malim Nava, I believe I have seen her with you before. He asked. Rimuru nodded. Malim is a childhood friend, so I know all about her quirk and how she fights. Still, this will be far from easy. We should form a plan. She said. Tokoyami nodded. That seems to be the best option. We should be wary of Kyoka Jiro, however. Neither of us know what she is capable of. He responded. Rimuru. Rimuru turned as she heard her name called out. Malim stood there next to Kyoka, and she put a thumbs up. Let's have fun. It's been a while since we've fought. Malim exclaimed. Rimuru smiled. Sure, Malim. She responded. All Might's eyes narrowed as he glanced towards Rimuru and Malim. This duo's quirks are both rather unique, and with Tempest teamed up with Tokoyami, it'll be all the more interesting. Let's see what kind of heroes they truly are. The villain team goes in first, remember. The timer starts in 5 minutes, when the hero team sneaks in. The rest of us shall watch via CCTV. Team G, adopt a villain mindset. Go all out. Don't hold back. Though of course I shall stop you if things go too far. All Might explained. Kyoka and Malim stood within the higher floors of the training building, in front of the fake nuclear bomb. They had gone in, now acting as the villains. Guarding this, HM. Hopefully this goes well. Kyoka remarked. She had light skin, onyx eyes, and short dark purple hair with asymmetric bangs. She had plug-like earlobes that could seemingly change length and be controlled at will. Her hero costume was a black leather jacket, long salmon-colored shirt with several rips at the collar and bottom, black pants, and boots with stereos in them. She also sported 2 small, red triangle facial marks just below her eyes, a plain black choker, and white fingerless gloves. Oh, I get to fight Rimuru. I haven't done this in ages. Malim exclaimed. Kyoka glanced over towards her. You're friends with Rimuru, right? You two are always together. What quirk does she have? She asked. Meline turned towards her and scratched the back of her head nervously. The true powers of Rimuru's quirk is kind of a big secret. I promised not to tell. But she won't use that here, so I don't really need to tell you, Meline responded. Kyoka raised an eyebrow, her plug-like earlobes reacting and moving. A secret? Yeah, I don't really have the right to tell you, but I can tell you what she will use here. Use? Explain. Kyoka asked. Meline took a deep breath in before sighing. Rimuru's quirk is kind of an ability stealer. By doing some specific stuff, she can take a target's ability and mimic it for herself. It's kind of complicated to do, so she won't do it to us. But I know what quirks and other abilities she can use. She explained. A quirk stealer? I've never heard of such a thing. What abilities does she have? Kyoka asked. Right now she has 3 she can mimic. She once took the abilities of 2 animals, a bat and a spider. She can create silk webs and stuff to trap opponents, taken from the spider. I'm not sure what she took from the bat, since she never explained that to me. Meline said. And the third? Kyoka asked. It's a quirk. She took the quirk of someone we both knew. It allows her to create silver metal scale-like armor around her body, which also enhances her strength. Though the armor isn't that strong, it can only take a few hits before breaking apart. Meline explained. I see, Kyoka remarked. She raised her hand and her plug-like earlobes pointed upwards. Let me explain my quirk to you, then. It is called earphone jack, and it allows me to plug the jacks that hang from my earlobes into all sorts of things and channel the sound of my heartbeat into them to cause havoc. I can also catch sounds and vibrations from my surroundings. She explained. Whoa! Meline exclaimed in joy. That's so cool. Thanks. So, what's your quirk? Kyoka asked. And Meline smiled. Your quirk is called Dark Shadow. Tokoyami nodded his bird-like head. Raising his hand, suddenly a bird-like shadow materialized from his body and floated alongside him. I am the host to a sentient, shadow beast known as Dark Shadow. He can contract and move away from my body freely. He explained. Hello. Dark Shadow exclaimed. Rimuru nervously waved her hand in greeting. I am surprised to learn that you can use multiple quirks, Tempest. With our powers combined, we shall be a formidable team. Hopefully you can finally have a victory against Nava, her quirk sounds like trouble. Tokoyami said. Yeah, I hope so well. Rimuru remarked. You've memorized the building blueprints? She asked. Indeed. We have prepared ourselves as much as we can, so now we must work together to ensure victory. But we must be wary of our enemies. Nava by herself is already a dangerous opponent due to her quirk, and Kyokajiro is an unknown variable. We should be cautious. Tokoyami said. You took the words right out of my mouth. Rimuru responded. Suddenly, All Might's voice exclaimed in an announcement. Indoor anti-personnel training, start. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author SilverHades on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.